At Option Genius, we believe that you deserve freedom, financial freedom, so that you have no more worries and more than enough money. Time freedom, so that you could do what you want, when you want to do it. And choice freedom, to live your life on your terms. But the system and Wall Street are rigged against those little guys. So how do we fight back? Well, my friend, that's what this podcast is all about. My name is Alan Sama, and this is the Option Genius Podcast. Welcome, passive traders, to another episode of the Option Genius Podcast. Today, I want to be talking about trading for a living without trading. Huh? What? Alan? What are you talking about? How do you do trading without trading, but you're doing it for a living? That doesn't make any sense. Alan, what are you talking about? Well, allow me to explain. Now, you see, trading for a living sounds great, right? Whether you do it professionally and you manage other people's money and you get a percentage of the profits or whatever, or you trade for your own. You know, you trade your own money and you grow it over time, and then you have enough money to earn a decent income from it so that you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything else, you're covering your expenses. And, you know, we have people doing it both ways. It just sounds interesting and exciting. You know, it's like, I trade for a living, and it gives you a boost to your confidence as well. I got to tell you that, you know, if you feel bad about yourself, but you're like, yeah, I trade for a living. Oh man, you're like on top of the world. That's why they call themselves, you know, these hedge fund guys, they call themselves masters of the universe, right? Because it's like He-Man, you know, you get your chest stick out and like, I trade for a living. You know, it's like if you're at a party, you know, people come up to you and say, hey, how you doing? What do you do? And you're like, I trade for a living. I go into the markets and I bend them to my will to do my bidding with just my wits and my brains. I make money from thin air. Well, I mean, you probably don't want to do it with the evil laugh at the end, right? But I mean, that's like the way most people look at it. And unfortunately, most people have, even traders, have a misconception about trading for a living, because they normally think of day traders, who by definition have to trade for a living because that's their job, right? That's what they do. If they don't trade, they don't eat. If they have a trade on, they have to go to the bathroom, they can't. They have to wait till the trade is over. They can either pee their pants, or if they leave, then they might lose money on the trade. So they can't do that. But most professional traders are not like that. They let their assets or their money work for them. They let the markets come to them, and they only trade when they feel they have an advantage. And this advantage, it doesn't come every day or multiple times a day. I mean, you take, for example, Jesse Livermore. Now, he's not famous anymore, but back in the day, in the 1920s and 30s, this guy was the major trader. Everybody knew his name. He made millions back then. And this is like in $1920. Okay? He actually wrote a book about it called Reminiscences. I don't even know how to say this word. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. He used a pseudonym as the author of that book, but there's another book specifically about him called Jesse Livermore, World's Greatest Stock Trader. Now, I would urge you, if you're interested in stocks and trading and whatnot, even options, you should get both of these books. I love them. I read them from time to time. He's like one of my favorite classic traders. And you can actually learn a lot from the way he thought by reading his books and understanding what he was going through when he was thinking about trade. When things were happening in the markets, how he would react to them, how he would see them. He was probably one of the first people who ever used technical analysis before they even knew what that was. At that time, back then, they didn't even know, or they didn't have any understanding that markets would move in certain patterns. And so he was in his brain, without even doing the charting, in his brains, he was able to discover these patterns. But he did not trade every day. He wasn't in the market all the time. His keys to success, one of them, at least, was to wait. And one of his most famous quotes is that the money is made in the waiting. Right? He was called the boy plunger. So what he would do is he would wait. He had his whole big stack portfolio just sitting there waiting. And not in the markets every day. He didn't care what happened every day. But then he would notice something happening in the market. He would notice that there is something abnormal happening. And then when that happened, he would go all in. Now, I'm not saying we need to do this. Eventually, he did end up going bankrupt. Actually, he went bankrupt several times, but the last time he couldn't recover. And so I don't remember if he actually killed himself or not. I don't remember that part, but he never recovered the last time. But he was able to make millions along the way. If he had put it into other investments, he probably would have been okay, but he didn't. So there's also that lesson to be learned. But then he was waiting for the proper opportunity. He was waiting for the chance where the odds were in his favor. Now, he wasn't selling options. I didn't even think they had options back then. So he didn't have the opportunity that we have as option sellers and passive traders to wait and to do trades that have the odds in our favor from the beginning. But his thing was he was a stock trader. And so he would wait until the market showed him, or a particular stock showed him, that it was going to make a big move in one direction or the other. And that's when he would go all in for it. Now, I bring this up today because right now, it's August 2019, and when I'm recording this, today's the 7th. The markets this month have started off very rough. We're down about 7% on the S&P 500 as I record this. Now, I don't know what's going to happen later on, and it doesn't really matter if you're listening to this much later. You could be listening to this to a year, 2 years from now. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is that this is going to happen, right? There are going to be times in the markets where we have big declines or we have big upswings. But mostly the declines happen really, really fast. The bull goes up the stairs, the bear goes out the window, right? So the bear's going to go down a lot faster than the bull makes it up to the top. But in that event, what do you do? Should you be trading in such a market when in 1 week the market is down 7%, it's down 3%, then it's up 2%, then it's down 5% or 4%? Well, if you can make money in a volatile market, or you're like a pro short seller, then yes, go ahead and trade it. That's your element. That's your thing. You go and you do it. But if you're a at-home game, a home gamer option seller, then probably not, right? And I had this argument with one of my students in our blank check coaching program, in which we sell oil options. That's the whole program there. We sell oil options. He was upset because he was trading for a living. Okay. Doing well at it for several months, over a couple of years. But he was upset when the oil market was not cooperating. And now I tried to explain to him. I said, look, man, you don't always need to be in the market, right? Every month, the market is not going to cooperate. It doesn't matter how good your strategy is, how good your trading plan is, how good of a trader you are. There are times when you will lose money, and there's nothing you could do about it. But the reason that we sell options, right? We know that over time, we are going to continue to win. So it's a long-term game, right? Not just over 1 month or 2 months, but over 12, 24, 36 months, we know that we're going to come out ahead. So yes, this month, August 2019, might be a volatile month. It might be a down month, and you might have lost a little bit of money. But if you're an option seller, we have the opportunity to get back in right next month and do it again and make money and then make money and make money, and we'll recover our losses, right? So over the long term, we come out ahead. But if you are trading for a living, sometimes you don't have that ability to look at the long term because you got to pay the mortgage this month. And like this student, right? He expected to take his expense money out of the markets every single month. That's just not realistic, right? Now, you might be sold something otherwise. You might be told, oh, hey, you could be a day trader or take this course and we'll teach you how to make money every single time. All your expenses will be paid from the market. No, that's not realistic. And I'll tell you the truth, like right now, the markets are down. I currently only have one trade on in my trading account. I mean, in my retirement accounts, I still have my covered calls and I have some naked puts on that I sold to take advantage of this situation, of this downturn. But in my trading account, I have one trade, and it's a small trade. That one trade is not going to pay my bills this month. But that's okay, because I knew that this type of event can happen. And so I built in a safeguard and I have a cushion. I know times like this will come when I don't want to be trading, right? And you look at any hedge fund. They are not fully invested all the time. Heck, they're almost never fully invested, meaning they don't always have 100% of their money at risk in the market, invested in something. They don't have to make a killing every single month to survive. They play the long game, right? It's about a yearly return for them. Even though we sell options and we trade and we talk about trading for a living, and our expenses come every month, that doesn't mean that we have to look at our trading on a month-by-month basis. I mean, of course we do, because we want to see how we're doing. But if you look at it on a yearly basis, you'll get a much better picture and a much better idea. And if you look at long-term, 12, 26, or 12, 24, 36 months, that's how your account grows, right? So when people ask me, Alan, how much of my money should I put into this trade or into this strategy? Or how much money do I need to make X every month? I'm not sure what to tell them. And it's surprising me how often I get that question. Like, Alan, I need to make $2,000 a month. How much money do I need? I can't tell you. I mean, we did an episode on that to kind of help you figure out what number. I don't know what podcast episode it was, but it's if you go on the list, it's called it. That's the title of it. How much do I need to make X? And you can listen to that one, and I go into that more detail. But every month is different, and every person is different. I don't know. I can't give you a number and say, if you want to make $5,000 a month, well, you need to have an account with, let's say, $50,000, and you'll make 10% every month. I can't say that. Because there might be some months when you do, but there are going to be other months when you don't. So that would be a lie, right? There's too many variables. So you need to have your trading money. And if you trade for a living, you need to have savings, a cushion that you can tap into when you are not trading or the markets are not cooperating, which they do from time to time. The worst thing to do in this situation is to force a trade. Because if you feel like, oh man, I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to take advantage of the situation. Oh, the market's dropped 7%. I don't think it's going to go up anymore. I think I'm going to go short the market right now. Well, when the market drops 2-3% in a day or more, it can turn around the next day and jump up the same amount or even more. And if you force a trade, you stand the chance of getting your face ripped off. And that's going to double the compound. I mean, maybe you already lost money because the market went down unexpectedly. Okay, fine, you lost money. Well, now you're going to double down and say, all right, now I'm going to short the market and the thing's going to rally, because that's what markets do. And then you're going to lose on both sides. And then you're going to be even more upset. And then you're definitely going to be on tilt, which means you're not going to be emotionally stable. And so you're going to be looking at all different kinds of trades, and you're always like, oh man, I got to pay the bills this month. I got to pay the mortgage. Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? That's not the way to trade. That's not the mental status you need to be trading. That's not the way, the mental frame that you need to be in to trade effectively, to trade properly. Doesn't matter what strategy you're using. So yeah, if you want to trade for a living, you need to know when not to trade, and that you don't always have to be trading. Okay? That's the whole point of this episode. Don't force trades. Don't always be trading. And, like that student I mentioned, if you have to always be trading to earn an income, then that tells me that you don't have enough funds to be trading in the first place for a living. You should go up and save more. That's the bottom line. So while the pundits on the financial media are freaking out right now, and nobody knows when the markets are going to stop falling, I am just going to sit on the sideline and wait. I'm going to wait for the VIX to come down. I'm going to wait for markets to calm down before I dip my toes back in the water, right? I mean, I had my trades on, and this month I'm going to lose money. I already know that. Well, not necessarily. The month is still young. But I had my trades on, and the markets turned around, and I got out. So I took losses, and I got out of every single trade except this one. And I'm like, okay. My losses that I took are manageable. I didn't wait, and think, oh, things are going to turn around. Things are going to turn around. No, I saw a change in the market, and I said, I'm getting out. And so we did that. We did that on all of our services. Option Genius, Simon Says, every trade, we're out. And now when the market calms down, we're going to get back in. And then the trades that we put on, hopefully, right, will recover what we lost and hopefully more. Or if not this month, then, in the next 2-3 months, we'll recover everything that we got back. And that's how you play the long game. Because, yeah, you'll lose a little bit of money in a month or two, but you add up all the wins from all the good months, and that recovers, and it gives you a good yearly yield. So when you look at the long-term picture, 12, 24, 36, you come out ahead. That's what I mean by you come out ahead that way, right? So again, trading for a living without trading means that if you are having to be forced to trade, if you have to be in the market all the time, there's a very good chance that you're going to lose all your money and that you're not going to be able to trade. So just like Jesse Livermore, he sat around waiting for the perfect opportunity for him. For us, we have good opportunities every month, but that doesn't mean we need to be trading. Doesn't mean we need to be in the markets. If we don't understand what's going on in the market, if the market is too volatile for our taste, if our strategy calls for a slow market and we don't have that, we wait. We only trade when the odds are in our favor. That's what it comes down to. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode. See you next time. Want to know how to choose the perfect option trade for every trading situation? It's easy. Just download our free trading map and it'll tell you. Just go to optiongenius.com/map.